geeky science here that I wanted to share with you. This is pretty damn shocking. We've talked before about microplastics. There's this explosion of colon cancer right now in the United States. Young people getting colon cancer, which traditionally has not been a disease of young people. And everybody was trying to figure out why. And the best candidate right now, or one of the leading candidates, it's not a certainty, but one of the leading candidates that suspicion has coalesced around is microplastics. Because, normally there's this mucus lining in your gut that is actually formed in large part by bacteria. And that can get scraped essentially by little tiny particles of plastic, and those abrasions then open up the gut to be penetrated by the chemicals in your food, which can cause cancer. And some chemicals are carcinogen, particularly if you eat a lot of cooked food, like broiled and flame grilled things. There's all kinds of carcinogens in flame grilled burgers, for example. So, arguably we should all try to avoid microplastics, but it's in all of our blood. It's everywhere. When we were in Antarctica, they were finding it in the penguins. They were finding it in the water of the Antarctic. So anyhow, people think that when they're getting hot coffee at the local drive-through, that the paper cup is paper, and somehow it's been treated, to make it waterproof, but they just think of it as paper. Well, actually, the way that they make these things is they integrate into the paper sheets of high-density polyethylene, HDPE, which is a type of plastic, and that plastic, so your paper cup is actually 5 to 10% plastic. So they did this study. This was these researchers, and this was just published in the journal Hazardous Materials. The question was, you pour hot water into one of these paper cups, how many particles of microplastic are liberated, that come out of the cup? And so they poured hot water, your basic coffee temperature water, into disposable paper cups and let them sit for 15 minutes and then analyze the water for the presence of microplastics and heavy metals, because a lot of these plastics are made with heavy metals. And I'll just quote from the study. What they found was that the deterioration of the plastic lining released ions of fluoride, chloride, sulfate, and nitrate into the hot water contained in the paper cups. Using fluorescence microscope, they identified and quantified the microplastic particles leaching into the liquid, which amounted to approximately 25,000 micron-sized microplastic particles per 100 milliliter cup after 15 minutes. That's your basic small cup. If you were to drink 3 hot drinks a day in disposable cups of hot coffee and tea, you'd ingest 75,000 micron-sized microplastics, along with ions and heavy metals, which in the long term can expose you to potential risks like infertility and cancer. And this is now the second study on this. The first study was published in April of 22. It was published in the Science of the Total Environment Journal, a peer-reviewed journal. It was titled Disposable Plastic Materials Release Microplastics and Harmful Substances in Hot Water. And they showed that millions of submicron and microparticles are produced from hot water soaking plastic packaging, paper cups, transparent boxes, expendable boxes, and those little trays that you get your frozen food in that you stick in the microwave. When you microwave your frozen food, boom, you are liberating millions, or thousands anyway, of particles of microplastics into your food. How do you avoid this stuff? Buy fresh fruit and vegetables at the store, cook them in a metal pan, serve them on a porcelain plate, eat them with a fork or a spoon, and there's no microplastic anywhere in the chain. It keeps coming back to that. We were talking, Friday, I think it was, about the association between obesity and cancer, and then the larger association between obesity, cancer, and ultra-processed foods. And who knows? I mean, we know that ultra-processed foods dramatically increase your risk of cancer. We don't know for sure exactly why. Maybe it's because they're laced with microplastics. Who knows? But the simple solution, get some broccoli and steam it up. Put some butter on it, or some margarine on it, or even better, is what I love to do, is put olive oil on it. And there you go. You've got a great meal We actually had, I mean, that was a meal last week. One of the dinners that Louise made was just, broccoli and a little bit of rice. It was delicious. Your taste buds change, I'm telling you. If you start eating, good, wholesome, real food, after about a week, all the cravings for all that crap food and the meat and everything, it just go away. Your body kind of shifts its internal systems. I'm sounding like an evangelist here. I'll stop right now. We'll be right back with your calls.